Welcome to Hypo Brew. I am Tom Brennan. Congratulations. You found the video on how to build a keezer from a guy who's built one 3 times now. The one that broke on me last time, the compressor blew. So on the fly, I had to make a new keezer because, you know, first world problems. I have to keep my beer cool and I have to pour it out of a tap. So I shot the video on the fly. Because of that, there will be some jump cuts here and there, which is fine. I did the best I could while shooting the video and also showing you how I build my keezer. There was some music playing on in the background, so I decided to cut out the audio. I will more than likely do a narration. If not, I'll just do some kind of text underneath to not bore you to death as you're watching the video. As I normally do while I'm watching or while I shoot these videos, the intros, I'm drinking something. And no, this is not those weird vodka drinks that are flavored with whatever. This is just seltzer, right from the keezer, because I love drinking seltzer. And yeah, it's my second favorite drink. Besides beer. Well, coffee is second, a close second. Anyway, this is how I made my keezer. So, oh wait. I can't say it just yet. First, the ska. So my keezer blew out, and luckily for me, in the past couple of days it's been raining, and today it's beautiful out. In case you can't see, I'm trying to find a spot where you could see me. So what I'm doing today is building a new keezer, and I figured while I was doing that I would shoot a video just to show you how I do it. That's not necessarily, may not be the best way to do it, but it's the way that I do it. That's the way I did my last keezer, which by the way was the compressor that blew on the keezer, not my build, just for the record, all right? Here are the items that I picked up for today, not including the tools that I have. So the first one being the keezer itself. This is a chest freezer. I also have some paint, optional of course. I also have some liquid nail type of stuff to adhere the wood collar to. I have some drywall screws, and then the 2x4s, which will act as the collar and also where the faucets will go.
All right, now what I'm doing is taking the hinges off, the hinge covers, and the important thing when you're unscrewing these hinges is that they will pop back at you. So when you're unscrewing them, like I'm doing here, what you should do when you get to the last screw at least is hold on to the hinge. Because if you don't hold on to the hinge, there's a very good likelihood that that spring that's right there, that spring is just gonna pop back out at you. Those screws, by the way, you could just discard or maybe use them for another project, because later on you're just going to use or I just used drywall screws and other screws. Whoop, see, they're popped out. All right, now that I've got the screws out of the hinges, take the lid right off. As you can see there, the 2 baskets that are there, I did mention at some point later on in the video that you can reuse them in the keezer. I didn't do it for this point, so I just tossed them out. There's the manual. I don't know why I showed you that one, but there's the manual. And so there you go. I just took off the baskets, and there you have it. The keezer without the lid on it. There you have it.
All right, I just want to make a quick note while I'm doing this. There are 2 things that you should kind of be aware of when you're positioning your keezer wherever it is. In my case, I'm going to put it inside of a bookshelf to kind of help hide it a little bit in my dining room. What I'm doing now is I'm kind of gauging how this thing is built and also how I'm going to place it inside of the bookshelf. I mean, the bookshelf's only 20 inches deep, maybe something like that. However, there are some considerations to make. The first one being the condenser here has a vent here to keep things cool, so I don't want to put this flush up against the bookshelf, because otherwise it'll create too much heat and it'll ruin the compressor. I'm going to have to move this out a little bit further. I could also make this the front of the keezer with the taps here, but I'm going to choose not to for a couple of reasons. One, that may just be a little bit of an eyesore. The other one being, though, is that if you take a look down here, this is where the drain is, and I'm going to want to access that when I can, rather than moving everything around to keep that going. And here inside here, that's the plug for the drain as well. I'm going to wind up putting this portion here up front. Now the next part I'm going to do is to measure out the collar. So I'm going to go all around here and measure things out and start cutting. And this is really just a pretty easy step, but I figured I would just narrate it anyway. Just quickly measuring out the dimensions from outside to outside of the keezer. I decided to do this on a 45-degree angle, the cuts, so I went from angle to angle there. And then here I am just cutting up the collars. If you can see the 45-degree angle that I've got going there. Really nothing too impressive, but this is the point when I was starting to listen to music, and that's where I mentioned in the beginning that I have to mute that out because Lord knows what's going to happen. So now what I've done is I've cut all the pieces up, and I covered those holes there later on with some glue. Just drill some pilot holes in each side, and then just take my drywall screw and screw that in there. It did tighten up a little bit when I got the drywall screw in there, but it was a pretty easy process. Got the collar all built. One thing I do want to note, last time when I made my last keezer, I put 2 screws on each side of the collar, and then I realized, as I'm doing this, thinking, wait, I only really need 1 because I'm going to be putting glue on here, adhesive on here, and then it's going to attach there. So this is not going to move. So while you're doing this, 1 screw on each corner is just fine. So this is just that liquid nail stuff I was talking about before. You could probably use any kind of adhesive. Just make sure that it's a multi-purpose adhesive, one that could adhere to both plastic and wood. So what I'm doing there is just laying it out. Then I will take the frame that I had built and just stick that right on top of the keezer there, and voila, you have a collar. The important thing you want to do here is make that fit just perfectly right. And in a few seconds, what you're going to see after I have got it all adjusted is you just put the lid on top. And then what I did in this case, what I've done in all the keezers I've built, is I've just taken something heavy, in this case a circular saw, and put it right on top of there and let it set with the weight on it, and that'll make it set just right. It's been about a half hour since I put the adhesive on. It seems to be sturdy enough that I could start doing work on here. I want to get this done as quickly as possible today, with some, making sure with some caution. So this way I can get things going with the rest of my day. It is summertime, as I just mentioned. It stopped raining today, it seems like, and the grass is a little overgrown, so I got to take care of that today and some other items as well. So anyway, you don't care about that, do you? My errands today, you don't care about that. So what I've done is, all right, so everything's all squared with the collar. Now I need to drill the holes for my faucets. Currently, I have 3 faucets, but what I've done is I've measured here 4 spots, I should say, just in case I want to put some more in later on. But I have the spacing here just in case. So what I did is I just quickly marked off, if I want to have four faucets, I just marked here like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're evenly spaced across. This hole is not going to be how I'm going to drill in here. I will show you how I'm going to drill it in there in a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a beer in 1, 2, and I'm not going to drill in here, but I'm going to drill in here for the seltzer that we have. So this one's going to be blank, but I have that space anyway. In case later on I do want to drill a hole in here, put a faucet, I can, and I won't be able to see this, but I'll have a general idea of where I want to put it, and it makes things a little bit more even.
Just a little quick tip while we're here, notice where I put my hand, and then I move it back ever so slightly because I don't want to put a drill through my hand. Because we're using power tools, boys and girls, so you want to make sure to be careful when you're using power tools. You may put a hole in your finger. So there you have it, especially with something like this, a 1-inch drill bit.
The holes are drilled. It's going to do a little cleanup work when I broke through there, and then also clean up the dust, the sawdust there, the drill dust, I guess it is. And then we're going to get to painting. I used a 1-inch bit to get through the wood here. What I want to do quickly before I paint anything and do any more cleaning up, I want to make sure that the faucet fits right in there, and it should. Yes, indeed. Fits without a problem. If you notice, I've got the grill off the bottom of the keezer there, and I've spray painted that separately, and there you have it. I'm only going to show you one side because it really is pretty boring how I spray painted things, and pretty bad. Got everything all painted up. Just for the record, buy more paint than one can. buy multiple cans, because then you don't have to run out to the store and wait for it to be really hot outside to finish the job. Put an additional piece of wood here on top of the collar to give me some space, so this way I can mount my regulators, and then I can mount my distribution here. And what I also did too is I popped a little hole right there. I don't know if you can see it. And that little hole is going to be for my Inkbird, so this way I can drop the Inkbird in there and get everything all set and ready to go. My plan is to have my CO2 tank here, and then the kegs here, and then maybe I have a small keg I'm going to put over here, or I can grab the baskets back, and I can put the baskets over here possibly. So we'll see how that turns out. The next step in the process is to attach or reattach the lid of the freezer. Now, when you're taking off or disassembling the hinges, they pop up. I mean, that's what they're supposed to do. So typically they're like this. What I did, I can't do this while shooting, but what I did was I held this down. I drilled a pilot hole right there, and then I drilled in another screw right there. I'm only going to put 2 screws into here because you know, I don't want to drill a hole into here and get something messed up like Freon. If you notice, there's the hole for the Inkbird, the temperature controller that I mentioned before. Now all you have to do is put the hinges on, the hinge covers on, and we're good to go. Let's take a look at the final product. We'll go inside first. All right, so it's a little bit of a mess right now because I'm forced carving an American Pale Ale. That's this guy right here, which I'm featuring in another video. But here's the CO2 distribution. There is the regulators. That's a Belgian quad, I'll call it. My CO2 tank, 20-pound CO2 tank, and there's my seltzer. All leading up to the taps here. So we've got the seltzer, and then the other 2 beers there. Just on the side, I wanted to show you that I have my Inkbird mounted right up there to the collar, which is another great thing about having wood there. Let's see if I can, there you go. So there it is, mounted up there. There's the cable, or the probe that goes in there and goes inside the keezer. There you have it, how I built the keezer, what it looks like at the end, the flubs in between, the jump cuts. But you know what? I'm a home brewer, I'm a home video maker. In this sense, not in any other kind of weird sense, kids. Don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at HypoBrew on Instagram. I shoot pictures in the meantime of all the beers I'm making and some other stuff. You can find me out on Instagram at HypoBrew. I'm on Facebook as well, facebook.com/HypoBrew. And of course, the homepage, hypobrew.com. Thanks for checking out this video, and hopefully you'll be subscribing to the videos, so when I have another video coming out, you will see it pop up somewhere. I don't know how that works in particular. It certainly doesn't go like this. Anyway, have a great rest of your day. Thank you for checking out the video, and cheers.